let's do this real quick. All right. I really got that much time, so I'm just going to go ahead and flow with this. Y'all can catch it later. So, you've seen the title of the video. So before I get into the video, I'm going to do something that I've done before. I'm going to tell you about 2 times where I was falsely accused of rape. This happened twice. When I was the first time I was like in 9th grade, I was like 14 years old. The other time I was probably like 16. So the first time, I had this girlfriend, and she was a virgin, and we was dating for a minute, buzzy, blah. And, you know, she wasn't really giving no action up. Of course, we was kids. But her best friend was. And her best friend started hitting me up, started calling me. And I know that she was active because she was with somebody who I knew. And they broke up. Whoop-de-whoop. But they used to do their thing. So we were talking on the phone for like weeks. And we were planning this situation for her to come over to my house after school one day. So what happened is she ended up getting a note forwarded so she can get off at my bus stop. I mean, we live close enough to walk to each other's house, but yet and still, you know, she had a note forwarded so she can get off at my bus stop. And I knew that about 20 minutes after I get home, my mom goes to work. My dad's not going to be home for a couple hours. So, you know, we had this opportunity. So we planned this up, right? Remember, her best friend is my girlfriend. Right? So we're both faulty for this. So she comes over, you know what I'm saying? We pretend we're doing homework and all that. Then my mom leaves. Blah, bada boom, bada bing. We do what we intended to do. Now we both told each other we're not going to tell nobody because, of course, her best friend is my girlfriend. So we both have a lot to lose if this gets out. So we swore we ain't going to tell nobody, blah, blah, blah. So next day at school, we pass each other in the hallway, or should I say on the stairs. And she's like, yo, did you tell anybody? I'm like, nah, did you? She goes, no, I didn't tell anybody. Well, except for Whoop-de-Whoop. I'm like, oh my God. Because the Whoop-de-Whoop was a big mouth who surely was going to tell everybody. And that's exactly what happened. So now the word get out that we did what we did. And it gets to my girlfriend, who's her best friend. And you know what? She never actually used the word grape. What she said was more like something like she didn't want to do it, which implied the same thing. So now, like, you know, the little chat around school is kind of the same thing. It's kind of the same energy. Now, remember, I'm 14 years old, so let's put this in context. I understand why she said that, was to save face with her best friend, who's my girlfriend. So I'm not thinking of it like a situation to where it could be detrimental to me because these allegations could lead to something legal or whatnot. I'm not in that mind frame at 14 to think like that. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just like, whatever, I get it. You're going to kind of say that because you don't want to smoke with my girl and whoop-de-whoop, and you guys are friends. You don't want to look like you betrayed your friend. Whatever. There's this white kid who I was close with, still to this day. He understood the context a little bit more. He understood, like, what the detriment that I could have been in. So first things first, he's mad at me for not telling him that, you know, I hit some skins. But second thing second, most important, he's like, yo, when you get home, call me up. We got to take care of the situation. Now, kind of date when this was, landlines. If you're young, you might not know what landlines are, but, you know, we had landlines. And at this time, there was something popular called three-way calling, meaning I can call you, and then I can call someone else, and we can all be speaking at the same time. So when I get home, I call him up. He's like, okay, call your girl on three-way. So I call her on three-way. He's like, okay, both of you guys mute. Well, there wasn't really no mute. It was mostly like just cover your phone, cover, you know, the speaker part of your phone, and hope nobody picks up the line in your house. So we do that. So now there's 3 of us. There's me, my girl, and dude, all on the phone. And then he calls the girl up. They talk. He very sophisticatedly gets her to tell the story. The story comes out, and it's clearly not what was implied. Long story short, that was done. There was never any more mentioning of anything that sounded salacious about it. Now, remember, I'm 14 years old. It could have went really bad. I'm not understanding this. I'm not understanding the context of this. I'm not understanding what kind of danger I could have been in because of these false allegations. I'm looking at it from her perspective. Like, I get why you, and she never said the word great, to be fair, but it was implied. And I'm looking at it from, okay, you're just trying to cover your ass, save your ass because whoop-de-whoop. Not understanding this. As a man, now I understand, like, exactly how serious that was. But nevertheless, you know what I'm saying, it never went any further than that. It was whatever. One more time that this happened, when the false accusations happened, I was about 16. I was probably in like 10th or 11th grade. I was on the football team, and, you know, had a football game. Boom, boom, boom. Scored 3 touchdowns. And I just remember this because I was looking for my parents and my little brother, who always came to my games. And I didn't see him the first touchdown I scored. I seen him by the second one, and I'm pointing at them, saying 2, letting them know. So, you know, they're all in the stands. So after the game, boom, I get home and my dad is waiting for me. He's waiting up for me. And my dad is a very masculine, strong dude. He's like Mr. T. Short, buff as fuck, looks mean as shit, but really a good dude, nice dude. And he has a look on his face like I've never seen. I've never seen him look shook. I've never seen him look panicky. He looked like he was in a panic when I got home. And I'm just looking at him like, what's up, Pops? And he goes, some girl left a message on the answer machine saying that you raped her during halftime of the football game in the woods behind the stadium. And low key, I chuckle. It's kind of funny to me because, of course, I'm on the football team. I can't not be in the locker room during halftime. It would have been an impossible scenario to happen. And to get to the woods behind the stadium means I would have had to walk in front of the whole crowd that was there. It would have been obvious if a big nigga in full football attire is walking to the woods. So to me, it's like, you gotta be joking, Dad. And my dad plays football. He played football. He was a sports person when he was my age, when he was that age. So I knew that he knew that would have been impossible. Plus, I knew he was at the game, so he knows I was playing football. It was an impossibility to happen. Once again, the naiveness, me knowing it's not true, but not understanding that it doesn't matter if it's not true. The allegation alone could be very detrimental to my life at this age. And especially because he says this. I'm like, Dad, you know I was at the game. I'm a captain of the team. There's no way I could have not been in the locker room at halftime. Because if you don't play sports, then, you know, halftime you're in the locker room with your team. You might be getting retaped up, you're getting hydrated, you're going through the game plan, blah, 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 blah. He goes into like old slave nigga energy. It don't matter. She sounded like a white girl, and oh Lord Jesus. You know, I'm putting a little extra on it, but that was kind of like that was the energy though. Once again, nothing came of it. There was nothing after that. It was just that prank call, whatever it was. It was just that. It never led to anything, right? So maybe I'm lucky in regards to that, you know, these were just some bullshit allegations that nothing ever came out of it. But it could have went drastically different. It could have changed my life forever. I could have been facing time or humiliation for something that I truly didn't do. I say that to say, because I want to put context to this. It's not that I'm not sympathetic. I know women go through these type of things. I know it must be difficult and challenging for a woman to even have to think about these kind of things as a possibility. A man doesn't have to think about these things like that. Now, with that said, I also now understand the detriment of false allegations and how they could ruin people's lives. I was lucky enough that it all came out that whoop-de-woo, buzzy-blah, Gucci. But it doesn't happen like that for everybody. So I say that to say this. And I said this during the Me Too movement. When the poster child of a woman who has been raped or assaulted is someone with a failing career who's going back 10, 20, 30 years to accuse someone civically and try to attach that to money and not real justice. And when the stories just aren't consistent and it just seems suspect, and that's the poster child. That's what's being platformed. It's not the woman that worked at Safeway or Amazon or maybe a maid or a teacher. It's not that. It's the woman who obviously has something to gain, telling you about a rape from 30 years ago that sounds suspect, and comes with a book that's coming out and all these paid interviews. What that does is it makes it harder to believe accusations of rape. So yes, it may work out for these women who are, adjacent to celebrities and rich people, and usually rich black celebrities, because we don't see this kind of energy for the white celebrities. I'm not saying at all that black people should be able to rape like white. No, I'm not saying that. It's a disgusting behavior, period. What I'm saying is it shows some type of agenda. And in the long run, yes, these particular women may benefit. They may get a bag. They may get justice because it may have really actually happened in some cases. I'm sure all of them are lying, right? But I'm certain that many of them are. And when that becomes the poster child and the only justice that we see and the only justice that we are behind is when it's to a celebrity who we may be jealous of because of their lifestyle, or we may be biased against because of rumors that we know nothing, we don't know if they're true or not, is what I'm saying. So when you have that kind of situation, does that begin to be a detriment to the regular working women, the 9-to-5 working women who aren't celebrity adjacent, who really have went through something, but they don't get any traction? And the worst part about it is, because of all of these suspect, questionable situations that we see in the public all the time, the first instinct of people are going to be to question if it's true or not. Now, I know from dating women that a lot of women have been through assault. I know that it's way higher than a number than we even want to admit of women that have been through sexual assault. I'm not saying it doesn't happen. And I understand that there's shame that's associated with that sometimes they don't even want to say anything about it, and they always have to worry about if people are going to believe them. But all I'm saying is this, and it's a question, right? Does it hurt women in the long run when the only time we see attempted justice for these situations are when we clearly know there are alternative reasons for these cases being brought up? Like when we know for a fact, okay, listen, it's been 20 years, your career didn't. Let's look at the Jaguar Wright situation. I seen an interview of Jaguar Wright saying she's cool with Jay-Z. She's cool with Beyonce. Hey, we should do that. We should run back the MTV Unplugged. She said this years ago. And then Jay-Z declined. He didn't want to do the Unplugged. He didn't want to do that again. Now all of a sudden, gunpoint, tied to the bed. I'm just saying, like when these are the poster childs for this is the justice we need for women, and there's way too much questionable and not any evidence attached to these claims, and then they go back 25 years, how does that help the woman that doesn't have power celebrity lawyers, who don't have a celebrity that they can try to extort a bag from, but it really happened to? Because now it just raises the questionability, is it true? Like there's no way, if I was a woman, I would be okay with the idea that something like that could happen to me, and the first thing people are going to think is it true? Are you just disgruntled? Are you just mad? Are you just trying to get a bag? And I think it's calculated, and I think it's actually purposeful that these waters are being muddied like this. And I don't think it's going to be beneficial in the long run for women. And if I was a woman, I would be saying something. I would be honest enough to be like, listen, I get it. If you've been violated, your tendency is, your reaction is probably going to be believe every single time. Unfortunately, not everybody's going to be thinking like that. Some people are going to be like, man, it just doesn't make sense. Why are you 30 years later saying this? Why are you saying this after you tried to get a bag and it didn't work out? Why are you saying this? Why are these allegations only to rich black men? Is it possible, and two things could be true. Is it possible that there's a witch hunt for rich, powerful black men? Not to say that some of them don't do some shit that really do need to be brought to justice, right? There's actually evidence of Puff Daddy, P. Diddy, actually doing atrocious things of abuse. We've seen the tape. Yes, I believe a man that would kick a woman in the head and drag her to the room, I believe that he probably would assault in a sexual manner. So I'm not saying that because some of these allegations seem suspect that it means none of them are true. I'm saying the line is being blurred to the point to where in the long run, it's going to be a detriment. Look at the Me Too movement. The Me Too movement popped up. They went after every black celebrity they could. They ignored the Epstein. They ignored the Weinstein. They ignored the 70s show actor who was convicted. Didn't make a big deal of none of those. You didn't see like a big movement to open up a hotline to where if you were by these white dudes, come. No, it's only towards us. So what I'm saying is they're deliberately muddying these waters. Muddy waters, blues. And in the long run, I don't think it's a good thing. I also don't think it's a good thing when we help them. I'm going to end it like this. We just seen a white boy choke out a brother on the train and get away with it. He murdered him from behind. Murdered this dude, got away with it. No one's saying nothing about it. But we're ready to throw Jay-Z under the bus for an allegation that's 25 years old with absolutely no evidence attached to it. So does that mean that we're programmed to be our own detriment and to ignore atrocities that are happening towards us? We'll ignore the white dude who just got away with murdering our people, but we want to, you know what I'm saying? We want to beat down these brothers with no real evidence. That's like saying you're being programmed to destroy yourself and ignore the external forces that are literally destroying you and getting away with it. And that's a problem. Because you won't see Chinese people throwing each other under the bus over an allegation. You definitely won't see Jewish people doing that. But we're willing to do that. So look, I'm not saying that all these brothers have to be innocent and it's just all racial. It could be racial and it could still be true in some cases. All I'm saying is that when there's enough reasonable doubt, pun intended, to conclude that this may not have happened and that there may be other reasons that are prompting these situations, we should be careful before we throw them under the bus, because throwing people under the bus prematurely and doing that, it only gives them more justification for what they do. And in the end of the day, it doesn't protect women. It certainly doesn't protect black women, because as a black woman, you cannot accuse a white boy 30 years ago of doing something to you and think that you're going to pull it off. In fact, that's actually tried to happen before. A sister actually tried to do that, and she probably had more evidence than all these other cases to a white boy, and she ended up getting sued. And she ended up catching a case. So just think about that. That's it, man. I'm out. Peace.